Hello, everyone, and welcome once again as our USTrotting Hopefuls roll on, this time in our fourth and final, featuring a talented group of 3-year-old trotting fillies. Watch now as we caught up with the connections of Anoka, Hanover, Lady Chaos, Instaglam, and Iteration. We kick things off with Anoka Hanover, the daughter of Donato Hanover, who turned a lot of heads at 2, winning races such as the Bluegrass at Lexington, the Kindergarten, and the Goldsmith Maid. She is number 1 on the Hoofbeats poll for 3-year-old filly trotters. Let's see how she looks coming back at 3 for her trainer, Noel Daly.
She had chips out of her hind ankle, so she was out a little bit longer. We didn't bring her back into the middle of January. She was always a stocky mare, just a medium-sized mare. Didn't grow a lot. I've actually noticed in the 3 months she's been back in work, she's grown a little since she's been back in work, but she looks good and very happy with her demeanour and everything. So,
what really impressed you about her?
You know what, she got better as the year got, I always liked her. You had no idea she was the best of them. She wasn't perfect gated. I always talked to Marty Ellis at Parlour. My friend who always helps pick him out and whatever, and he'd always ask each month which was the best of them. And I said, I'd always tell him, I said, this one's strong. She said, not as pretty gated. I didn't think she was the best of them. And he probably picked it first after she'd had 3 or 4 starts. He said to me, I don't see a better one than her. And I said, no, you know what, I think I wouldn't swap her. Still don't know if I'm the best, but I wouldn't swap her for anyone because she had a great way of doing everything. And she could put in a step and whatever, but usually, we just got to where we were driving her off all the time, and she worked herself out. She knew how to win. She just would get there, She won those last 7 in a row. I think a lot of that was to do how she got raced. I think out of those last 7 wins, she was on the front end once when she was 1-9 at Chester. Apart from that, she was driven off the pace all the time, and I'm not saying she can't go on the front end, but I think that helps the longevity of the season, getting driven like that.
Looking at this year, what are your expectations for her?
Yeah, you hope they come back. The speeds they go these days, the good 2-year-olds, more often than not, they don't improve. You hope they come back as good. The fact that she ended the year on such a good note, it gives me confidence that she'll come back good again. And you think if you've given them 14 starts at 2, you think, well. But she ended the year so well. If she'd have been tired at the end of the year, I'd have been a little more worried. But, you never know. We've got a stake to everything, including secondary races, just in case she's not as good. But so far, she's shown that she's as forward as I need her to be.
Lady Chaos, the Linda Toscano trainee who had an impressive freshman campaign and was outstanding in her Breeders' Crown win at Hoosier Park. At 2, a strength for her was her versatility and her all-business attitude. Let's see how she looks coming back at 3.
Now, how has she come back this year, and how have you seen her change?
Lady Chaos has come back really well so far. We're almost there. We need about 3 more works, and I think we're ready to go. She's, I don't think she's filled out as much as I would have loved to, but she's certainly gotten taller, so I think the filling out comes next.
What's her schedule look like to get started?
Well, her first sire stake race is in Chester, about mid-May. I'm going to let her tell me. She's eligible to absolutely everything. So where we go, and it really is determined by how she qualifies and where we decide to go. So we can kind of pick and choose as we want. Obviously, I want her best in the first week in August.
What has pleased you most about her or impressed you the most about her?
She's been a professional horse from the day we broke her. I always hate when people say that they knew right from the beginning that they were a good horse, because truthfully I didn't. But I knew she was a pleasure. She very rarely made a break. She didn't interfere. She could sit back. She could cut a mile. She could come first up if we needed her to. That has made her the horse. And I think she showed that. Like, she got away from David one day in Lexington last year, and I was really concerned because she got loose on the lead and she was very grabby. And sometimes trotting fillies don't bounce back after something like that. But in her case, she did. She went back up to Canada. She did it. She was really good. We were racing her careful those nights, and she came back and she won the Breeders' Crown. So she's been good, and the Sire Stakes final in Kentucky. So she's been a good filly, and she's done everything I could ask her to do.
And what are your expectations for this year? Looking at her in this division.
It's a really tough division. I think it's tougher than the boys. It's just a matter of if she kind of comes back with the consistency that she had last year. She has great gate speed. She has the ability to race from behind. We need luck. You know, when you're in this deep a division, you need not only to be good, but you need to be lucky too.
Iteration, the full sister to trotting star Chimpanzee, had big shoes to fill it too for her connection. She was impressive on the New York Sire Stakes circuit and then had 2 nice wins at Lexington last fall. We talked with trainer Marcus Wielander about his talented filly and how she seems to be coming back at 3. You had the filly last year at 2, made over $315,000, you know, had 5 wins as a 2-year-old. How did you feel about her throughout her 2-year-old season? She was really great there for a minute and just kind of tailed off late in the season.
Yeah, it was a long season for her, but she raced very well. I thought, you know, when we start baby racing them, that she will be a, you know, good New York horse, and we're probably keeping her there. And but then she turned out to be better and better for every race, and she was pretty mature, you know, body-wise and everything. So I thought when we brought her to Lexington and those Grand Circuit races outside New York that she did very, very well. So she lost a little bit of form towards the British Crown, and after that we turned her out. So she's really grown here during this winter month here, and she really looks good.
Instaglam, the daughter of Father Patrick, was a 5-time winner at 2 for trainer Nancy Tactor. She showed great things throughout her freshman season, highlighted by her win in the Reynolds Memorial and a 4th in the Mohawk Million. Ken Weingartner caught up with trainer Nancy Tactor to talk about her filly.
Difference from last year to this year, she grew up a little bit. You know, she's a little bit bigger than she was last year. She could be a little bit of a handful sometimes, so I think the biggest challenge this year is going to be to keep her settled and quiet and calm. You know, and a little bit, she's got a really big gait to her, so it's hard when she kind of gets jammed up in a hole. But so far this year, she's been sitting really nicely behind other horses, and I think she has a good 2021 ahead of her.
What do you like most about her?
Obviously she's fast. You know, she's a typical Father Patrick filly. A lot of them are, you know, they have a lot of speed to them. It's just a matter of reining in the speed and using it tactically.
What do you think her potential is for this season?
You know, like I said, if she stays quiet and she is manageable, I think she can definitely belong to the top of her class. You know, that's going to be the biggest deciding factor, is just keeping her manageable. But she's definitely got the talent and the tools to be able to be on the top of her class.